Hey guys, it's Bush, and this week I want to talk about the differences between Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. Please note, while I used to play a lot of Overwatch for years since release, it has been years since I've played the game. If I get anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. Okay, so let's jump into the 5 differences between Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. The first difference I want to talk about should be the most obvious as it was covered in the tutorial, but I feel like they glanced over it pretty quickly, so it's worth talking about. Some of the terrain in Marvel Rivals can be destroyed and it auto-repairs itself after a certain amount of time. Additionally, some of the maps will change as the fight progresses, and the last, less-known thing about terrain is shooting some of it can damage enemies just out of your line of sight, creating a terrain-induced AoE. While people got environment kills in Overwatch while pushing people off the edge, and that's also done in Rivals, you can, in Rivals, remove terrain, giving you better lines of sight, choke points, and off angles. The second difference is how domination game modes play out. If you've played more than a couple Marvel Rivals domination matches, you probably already realized that your ultimate ability progress stays between rounds. This is very different from Overwatch, where your ultimate economy resets between every domination match. In Rivals, it is much more important to play the end of each domination match much more conservatively so you have more ultimate economy going into the next round, unlike Overwatch where each domination round felt like a full reset. The third difference deals with how payload matches play out. There are 2 differences from Overwatch, but they all have to deal with one game mode, so I'm listing them both here. The first major difference in my opinion is that the payload will continue to make forward progress while on attack, even if no teammates are on the payload. This is different from Overwatch where the payload requires at least one person to be on it to move forward. In Rivals, you don't need anyone on the payload, although more people makes it move faster, and it caps at 3 people just like in Overwatch. The second payload difference is that in Rivals there's a capture sequence when the defenders stop the payload, removing all attackers from it. This capping sequence must be undone by the attackers after they clear the defenders from the payload before it moves forwards again. This requires the attackers to have the payload cleared for a second or 2 before it will move forward again, unlike Overwatch where there was no capture progress with the payload, and if it was completely hidden. The fourth difference has to deal with the character models, and rate at which new characters are added. In Overwatch they had a much slower cadence to adding new characters, allowing them to be very deliberate about the character model, ensuring it's different from every other character currently in-game. In Rivals, they add heroes much faster and have already added heroes with similar character models. This can make the learning curve in Rivals a little bit steep due to needing to recognize abilities on the fly because you can't immediately tell which model is what character. Personally, this is my least favorite thing with Rivals and is something I hope they address. The last difference between the 2 is the most obvious. Overwatch is a unique universe where developers have to create all heroes from scratch but can create anything they want. Marvel Rivals exists within the Marvel universe of comic book heroes, and Luna Snow shows all Marvel franchises. This means that Marvel Rivals developers cannot create new heroes from nowhere, and they have to take a pre-existing character to get them to fit in the hero shooter franchise they are creating. This could be both good and bad for Rivals depending on how you look at it. So far, it hasn't had an impact other than allowing them a depth of story to pull from. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in, watching this video. Hopefully I didn't take up too much of your time. I wanted to rapid fire and go through these all. If you liked it, please hit a like. If you want to hit more from me, please subscribe and leave any differences that I missed in the comments below or any differences that I messed up. Go in the comments below. I'll catch you guys next week with a new weekly Marvel Rivals video. Until then, remember to love yourself, love everyone else, and peace out.